Morning everyone. Before we start our topic, let's start first with an energizer. This is one pick, one word.
Peach.
No?
Pink.
No? You can find the answer in the box. Okay, please guess the pick. You know what?
Clue.
S. The first letter in the word starts with an S.
Sleep.
No.
Zoom out.
Ends with L. What?
Steel.
You're correct! Yay! The next one is starts with C, ends with Y.
Copy.
Copy? You're correct! Now you wonder what our topic is all about. Our topic is about plagiarism. So what is plagiarism? Plagiarism is representing someone else's work or ideas as your own, with or without their consent, by incorporating it into your work without full acknowledgement. All published and unpublished material, whether in manuscript or printed or electronic form, is covered in this definition. Plagiarism may be intentional or reckless, or unintentional under the regulations of examinations. Intentional or reckless plagiarism is a disciplinary offense. The requirement to acknowledge others' labors or ideas extends beyond text to other mediums such as computer code, graphics, graphs, and so on. It applies to both published and unpublished content and data from books and journals, as well as unpublished text and data from lectures, theses, and other student writings. Text data and other resources taken from websites must be also attributed. Avoiding plagiarism is more than just double-checking your sources or changing enough words so the examiners doesn't spot your paraphrasing. It's about putting your academic skills to work to make your work at the best it can be. There are 8 forms of plagiarism. First is verbatim, which is word-for-word quotation without clear acknowledgement. Second is cutting and pasting from the internet without clear acknowledgement. Third is paraphrasing. Fourth is collusion. Fifth is inaccurate citation. Sixth is failure to acknowledge assistance. Seventh is the use of material written by professional agencies or other persons. And the last is auto-plagiarism. Verbatim or word-for-word quotation without clear acknowledgement.
Quotations must be always be identified as such by the use of either quotations marked by indentations, and with full referencing of the sources cited. It must be always be apparent to the reader which part are your own independent work, and which where you have drawn on someone else's ideas and language.
Second is cutting and pasting from the internet without clear acknowledgement.
Information derived from the internet must be adequately referenced and included in the bibliography. It is important to evaluate carefully all materials found on the internet, as it is less likely to have been through the same process of the scholarly peer review as published sources.
Third is paraphrasing.
Paraphrasing the work of others by altering a few words and changing their order, or by closely following the structure of their argument, is plagiarism. If you do not give due acknowledgement to the author whose work you are using, a passing reference to the original author in your own text may not be enough. You must ensure that you do not create the misleading impression that the paraphrased wording or the sequence of the ideas are entirely your own. It is better to write a brief summary of the author's overall argument in your own words, indicating that you are doing so, than to paraphrasing particular sections or his or her writing. This will ensure you have a genuine grasp of the argument and will avoid the difficulty of paraphrasing without plagiarizing. You must Also, properly attribute all materials you derive from the lectures.
Fourth is collusion.
This can involve unauthorized collaboration between students, failure to attribute assistance received, or failure to follow precisely regulations on group work projects. It is your responsibility to ensure that you are entirely clear about the extent of collaboration permitted and which parts of the work must be on your own.
Fifth is inaccurate citation.
It is important to cite correctly according to the conventions of your discipline, as well as listing your sources. You must indicate using a footnote or an in-text reference where a quoted passage comes from. Additionally, you should not include anything in your reference or bibliography that you have not actually consulted. If you cannot gain access to a primary source, you must make it clear in your citation that your knowledge of work has been deprived from a secondary text. It is important to cite correctly according to the conventions of your discipline, as well as listing your sources. You must indicate using a footnote or an in-text reference where quoted passage comes from. Additionally, you should not include anything in your reference or bibliography that you have not actually consulted. If you cannot gain access to a primary source, you must make it clear in your citation that your knowledge of work has been derived from a secondary text.
Sixth is failure to acknowledge assistance.
You must clearly acknowledge all assistance which has contributed to the production of your work, such as advice from fellow students, laboratory technicians, and other external sources. This need not apply to the assistance provided by your tutor or supervisor, or to ordinary proofreading, but it is necessary to acknowledge other guidance which leads to substantive changes of content or approach.
Seventh is the use of material written by professionals, agencies, or other persons.
You should neither make use of professional agencies in the production of your work, nor submit material which has been written for you, even with the consent of the person who has written it. It is vital to your intellectual training and development that you should undertake the research process unaided. Statute 11 on University Discipline. All members of the university are prohibited from providing materials that could be submitted in an examination by students of this university or elsewhere.
And lastly is auto-plagiarism. You must not submit work for assessment that you have already submitted, either for your current course or for another qualification of this or any other universities, unless this is specifically provided for in the special regulations for your course. Where earlier work by you is citable, it has already been published and you must reference it clearly. Identical pieces of work submitted currently will also be considered to be auto-plagiarism. Why does plagiarism matter? Plagiarism is a breach of academic integrity. It is a principle of intellectual honesty that all members of the academic community should acknowledge their debt to the originators of ideas, words, and data which form the basis of their own work. Passing off another's work as your own is not only poor scholarship, but also means that you have failed to complete the learning process. Plagiarism is unethical and can have serious consequences for your future career. It also undermines the standards of your institution and of the degrees issues.
You should avoid plagiarism because you aspire to produce work of the highest quality. Once you have grasped the principle of source use in citations, you should find it relatively straightforward to steer clear of plagiarism. Moreover, you will reap the additional benefits of the improvements to the lucidity and the quality of your writing. It is more important to appreciate the that mastery of the techniques of academic writing is not merely a practical skill, but one that leads both credibility and authority to your work. Demonstrate your commitment to the principle of intellectual honesty and scholarship.
These are the two real examples of plagiarism. First is UP student plagiarizes prize-winning photos. Second is UP grad in photo plagiarism gets redemption. UP student plagiarizes prize-winning photos. Written by Carol Rembrandt. Manila, Philippines update. A graduate student of the country's premier state university admitted to passing off as his own photograph that recently won a contest sponsored by the Chilean ambassador. University of the Philippines graduate student Mark Joseph Solis made a confession when Rappler contacted him by phone on Sunday, September 2022. I'm deeply sorry, I'm in deep remorse. Right now, I already contacted the organizers and I'm about to contact the owner to personally convey to him my deepest and personal apology, Solis said. According to posts on the Narinig Ko sa UP, overheard at UP Facebook page, Solis had done at least 5 times since 2011. The most recent photo that Solis claimed to be won the top prize in the Smiles for the World Photo Contest conceptualized by Chilean Ambassador Robert Mayorga. It came under intense scrutiny on social networks on Sunday after the real owner of the photograph, Gregory John Smith, revealed how an imposter abused my copyright. Solis submitted a photo of a boy whom he said was named Nilo and was from Zamboanga. The caption stated that the boy helped his father from seaweed. During Chile's National Day on Wednesday, September 18, at the Cultural Center of the Philippines, Solis was awarded $1,000 and round-trip tickets to Chile and Brazil. Smith, a social entrepreneur, said the photo belonged to the Children at Risk Foundation, and he founded. The child in the photo was from Brazil, not Zamboanga City, he said. Smith posted a comment on a recent feature article on the ambassador claiming ownership of the photo. He said, I hate to disappoint the children ambassador to Manila, Roberto Mayorga, but the Smiles for the World contest that I understand you conceptualize has awarded first prize to an imposter who has abused my copyright image. I, as a social entrepreneur, and the founder of the Children at Risk Foundation, helping children at risk in both in Brazil and the Philippines, find this very disturbing and would ask that the ambassador takes immediate actions to reverse this situation. I am receiving emails from all over the world commenting on this abuse, and I would suggest that the ambassador directs this prize money, including the travel prize, to my foundation, especially in light of a forthcoming trip early next year, which I shall be making to the Philippines with 2 of the youth from my social program in Brazil, to visit a similar program in New Smoky Mountain, Manila. The travel prize ban be reversed to Singapore and the Philippines, as I will need all the support I can get. I would also inform the ambassador that my image under no circumstances can be used in any campaign, private or public, without my foundation's prior permission. Smith pointed to his Flickr account, which contained the framed photos taken in 2006 along with the other photos of the children in Brazil. The photo was titled Neptune King of the Sea. UP students expressed shock and anger at the apparent plagiarism. Solis is a political science alumnus of UP and is currently taking up his master's in public administration at the National College of Public Administration and Governance. The website of the International Association of Political Science Students said Solis is a legislative staff of Senator Pia Cayetano. Cayetano tweeted Sunday to those asking Mark Solis was a probationary staff for 3 months. He has not been connected with our office since June. It wasn't the first time Solis joined and won a contest using photo taken by other people. Solis sent Smith's photo to the United Nations International Year of Water Corporation contest. The caption stated this time that the child was from India. according to post on the Narinig Ko sa UP page. Another photo he entered into the same contest was all from the Child at Risk Foundation Flickr album. In 2011, he also entered and won the first Popworth Trust photo competition. The owner of the photo is a Flickr user who took the photo in 2008. Solis also entered 3 photos to a Sustainable Development Photo Contest hosted by a European Union company called Viniplus. All 3 photos were also stolen from Flickr accounts. The Office of the Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process, which also held a photo contest in 2011, received a false entry from Solis as well. The original photo also found on Flickr even had a watermark on it. Ambassador Mayorga expressed his deep sadness by the turn of events. Mayorga told Rappler he only wished to show appreciation of the kalidad humana of the Filipinos. He added that he hopes this not tarnish the image of all Filipinos. The majority have plenty of kalidad humana, Mayorga told Rappler. Fortunately, these kind of exceptions are the risk you have in your nice country. This shows it is necessary to take care of your good people, preserving among them the positive elements of their personality. Mayorga said that they will conduct an investigation to the matter, but he warned that Solis' conduct may forfeit his reward. Solis said he will meet with the contest organizers on Monday. Question: in what competition did Solis send in his plagiarized work?
Solis sent his plagiarized work in Smiles for the World photo contest conceptualized by Chilean Ambassador Roberto Mayorga.
What sanctions did he receive from the organizing committee?
Sanctions that he received from the organizing committee are expulsion, suspension from the university, withholding graduation or the other privileges, withdrawal of registration privileges, permanent disqualification from enrollment, exclusion from any class, reprimand, warning, or expression of apology.
Do you think technology and the internet have made plagiarism easier? Or do you think technology have made people more or less creative?
Yes, the technology and internet have made it easier to plagiarize because there are a plethora of applications, programs, and technologies that can be used to commit plagiarism. Many people are becoming less creative as they become more reliant on technology and social media to make their lives easier.
Second example is the UP grad in photo plagiarism gets redemption. Manila, Philippines, for former Chilean ambassador to the Philippines Roberto Mayorga, Mark Joseph Solis more than just redeemed himself. He has proven that dark moments in one's life often reveal the brightest traits of an individual. For the past 2 years, Solis, a graduate of political science from the University of the Philippines, managed a football program for street children at a makeshift field inside the Baclaran Church compound in Pasay City. The football club, with players aged 8 to 12, seeks to develop children's character through the sport. We were inspired by the world-class football players of South America who started via street football, Solis, who co-founded the program, said in an earlier report in the Star. But more than developing top athletes, we aim to provide these kids with opportunities for personal and spiritual development, he added. The program was part of his commitment to Mayorga and the rest of the people behind the Kalidad Humana project following a photo plagiarism controversy that hounded the Smiles for the World photo contest sponsored by the Embassy of Chile in 2013. This was stripped of the grand prize after it was learned that he was not the person who took the winning photo. He later apologized for the incident. Mayorga meanwhile asked him to participate in the activities of Kalidad Humana as part of his path to redemption. I think this is very important, Mayorga told the Star following the book launch of Kalidad Humana, sharing the Filipinos spirit at the cultural center of the Philippines yesterday. Mark Solis is an example that it is possible for someone to redeem himself, to change, he added. Mayorga, now a consultant for the Energy Development Corp, said the issue is now closed as Solis has genuinely repented and redeemed himself following the incident. 2 years working with the children and now he's a different person, Mayorga said. For the former ambassador, the lessons Solis learned from one of the most challenging episodes in his life are more important. He was so damaged, totally damaged, he recalled, adding that Solis has worked hard to recover from the aftermath of the controversy. After fulfilling his commitment, he deserves to be recognized. Mayorga and Solis shared an emotional embrace at the culmination of the book launch, as the latter's redemption from the controversy was imparted to the audience. Solis has suffered harsh criticisms on social media over the plagiarism case. Declined the request for an interview, saying he is now living a quiet life. He, however, pledged to continue working with the program to promote Kalidad Humana, a Filipino value loosely translate a kabutihang loob sa kapwa, or goodness to fellow men. During the book launch, Mayorga stressed the need for Filipinos to recognize and preserve an exceptional trait of depth and intuitive concern for others that comes naturally to Filipinos. A majority of Filipinos are known for their positive attitude, friendliness, hospitality, humility, the priority to give to others over material things, resiliency, spirituality, joy of life, and sincere attitude. This is Kalidad Humana, he said. The book contains articles that provide an intellectual framework aimed at understanding and strengthening the concept. It also contains numerous messages from various notable individuals from different sectors. Sometimes, a country is best seen through the eyes of the foreigner. That is the case with Roberta Mayorga, Chile's former ambassador to Manila. Star editor-in-chief Anne-Marie Pamintuan wrote, Kalidad Humana is exemplified, he says, in the smile that comes easily to the Filipino, even in the midst of poverty and adversity. This book is a tribute to the Filipino spirit, she added. Oscar Lopez, Chairman Emeritus of the Lopez Group of Companies, wrote the foreword to the book. Together, we need to do our utmost to safeguard, preserve, and cultivate his national spirit, but we should also be aware as Filipinos that our Kalidad Humana can be our gift to the world, and that is both a privilege and responsibility to share, Lopez wrote. Just as all countries seek to export their natural resources of their industrial and technological products, the Philippines is in a unique position to export its human richness to all the peoples of the world, he added. Foreign Affairs Undersecretary Laura Del Rosario, who attended the book launch, said the department would distribute copies of the book to the different Philippine consulates and embassies to spread the word of Kalidad Humana. Mayorga said a second part of the book, which will cover different ways on how Filipinos can safeguard Kalidad Humana, would be released next year. Now, question. According to the article, how did Solis redeem himself? What job did he have?
According to the article, Solis redeemed himself by participating in the activities of Kalidad Humana, in which he works and manages a football program for street children at a makeshift field inside the Baclaran Church compound in Pasay City. Solis is working with the children for 2 years.
What project did he help?
Solis helped to manage a football program for street children. They are aged 8 to 12 years old at Baclaran Church compound in Pasay City.
What is there to learn about the life of Solis?
What we should learn about the life of Solis is that humans are not born perfect. We make decisions that we later regretted, but regardless of the sin we committed, everyone deserves a second chance.
According to Republic Act No. 8293, an act prescribing the Intellectual Property Code and establishing the Intellectual Property Office, providing for its powers and functions and for the other purposes. Section 1. This act shall be known as the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines. Section 172.1. Literary and artistic works, hereinafter referred to as works, are original intellectual creations in the literary and artistic domain protected from the moment of their creation and shall included in particular books, pamphlets, articles, and other writings, periodical and newspapers, lectures, sermons, addresses, dissertations, prepared for oral delivery, whether or not reduced in writing or other material form. Letters, dramatic or dramatical musical compositions, choreographic works, or entertaining in dubbed shows. Musical compositions with or without words, works of drawing, painting, architecture, sculptural, engraving, photography, or other works of art, models or designs for works of art. Original ornamental designs or models for articles of manufacture, whether or not registrable as an industrial designs, and other works of applied art. Illustrations, maps, plans, sketches, charts, and three-dimensional works relative to geography, topography, architecture or science, drawings or plastic works of scientific or technical character, photographic works, including works produced by a process analogs to topography, lantern slides, audiovisual works, and cinematographic works, and works produced by process analogs to cinematography or any process of making audiovisual recordings, pictorial illustrations and advertisements, computer programs, and other literary, scholarly, scientific, and artistic works. Section 172.2 Works are protected by the sole fact of their creation, irrespective of their mode or form of expression, as well as their content, quality, and purpose. Chapter 3 Derivative Works, Section 173 Derivative Works, Section 173.1 The following derivative works shall also be protected by copyright: dramatizations, translations, adaptations, abridgments, arrangements, and other alteration of literary or artistic works, and collections of literary, scholarly, or artistic works, and compilations of data and other materials which are original by reasons of the selection or coordination or arrangement of their contents. Section 173.2 The works referred to in paragraphs and of subsection 173.1 shall be protected as new works, provided, however, that such new work shall not affect the force of any subsisting copyright upon the original works employed or any part thereof, or be construed to imply any right to such use of the original works, or to secure or extend copyright in such original works. Section 185 Fair use of a copyrighted work. Section 185.1 The fair use of a copyrighted work for criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, including multiple copies, for classroom use, scholarship, research, and similar purposes is not an infringement of copyright. The compilation, which is understood here to be the production of the code and translation of the forms of the computer program to achieve in the interoperability of the independently created computer program with other programs, may also constitute fair use. In determining whether the use made of a work in any particular case in a fair use, the factors to be considered shall include the purpose and character of the use, including whether such use is of a commercial nature or is for non-profit educational purposes, the nature of the copyrighted work, the amount and sustainability of the portion used in a relation to the copyrighted work as a whole, and the effect of the use upon the potential market for or value of the copyrighted work. Section 185.2 The fact that a work is unpublished shall not by itself bar finding of fair use. Its such finding is made upon consideration of all above factors. The state recognizes that an effective intellectual and industrial property system is a vital to the development of domestic and creative activity, facilitates transfer of technology, attracts foreign investment, and ensures market access for our product. It shall protect and secure the exclusive rights of scientists, investors, artists, and other gifted citizens to their intellectual property and creations, particularly when beneficial to the people for such periods as provided in this Act. The use of intellectual property bears a social function. To this end, the state shall promote the diffusion of knowledge and information for the promotion of knowledge and information for the promotion of national development and progress and the common good. In Republic Act No. 10173, an act protecting individual personal information and communication system in the government and private sector, creating for this purpose a National Privacy Commission and for other purposes, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the Philippines in Congress assembled. Chapter 1, General Provision, Section 1, this act shall be known as the Data Privacy Act of 2012. Section 8, Confidentiality. The Commission shall ensure at all times the confidentiality of any personal information that comes to its knowledge and possession. Republic Act No. 10173 protects and maintains the right of customers to confidentiality by setting a legal set of rules for companies to regulate the collection, handling, and disposal of all personal information. Companies legally responsible for keeping their customers' data protected from third parties or any form of misuse, internally or externally.